Hello everybody, it's Elizabeth and I'm here in my art loft and I wanted to show you this beautiful print that I just made and hopefully can remake one similar to it, although I don't have the purple. I'm going to be using, I think I'll use the red that I have. I think chocolate cherry will look good with that light blue. But look at these butterflies, they just kind of float and they're barely there. And just, I think they look gorgeous. Anyway, let's get started. So, first thing I do is put down a light coat, and I said I'm using chocolate cherry. Nope, black cherry, sorry. There's a difference. The chocolate cherry is a little browner than the black cherry. This one is semi-opaque, and I'm not sure that the purple, no, the purple I used before was opaque, so we might get a different result from this. And we'll be happy with it, I hope. But we'll see what we get. I need a very thin layer. So since the paint is quite thin, I'm putting down a little more than a quarter size. But it dries pretty fast today. I think we have kind of dry weather maybe. And what I want to do is get a nice even coat on here. And my brayer's been acting up actually lately. It seems like one of the edges has gotten distorted or something, so that it seems like it makes a line on the plate, and I don't like that. It's not very nice. So let me take off some of this paint, this extra paint that I have. I'm going to put it over here on my roll-off sheets. And I'm going to take off just a little bit more, I think. And I have some places on my plate that are a little bit indented, and I'm not sure how to get those out. I've tried using baby oil on them and some other things, but it didn't seem to work. So I might try that again later, I don't know. But I just deal with it by making sure the paint has gotten into those areas and making sure that when I'm picking it up, I get those areas pulled by pressing down into those areas very well. Okay, so what I used on the other print was this this carving that I made some time ago, and so I'm just going to use that again. And fortunately, this one's large enough to go over the whole whole plate, so I put that down and give it a nice roll to make sure that it is nicely excuse me, so that it's nicely against the plate and there are no air bubbles in there. And the air bubbles work out pretty easily because there are a lot of little indentations in the plate. I need a drink of water, sorry, a moment. Otherwise I'm going to be coughing. My throat's dry. Okay, so now we pick this up and hopefully don't scoot it as we do so. And there we have a print on our plate, or a pattern on our plate. And now we have to wait for it a little while to dry because this was a little wetter paint than my purple was. My purple, what I was using on the other one, was called Amethyst. And it's just about out, unfortunately. So I'm going to need to get some more of that. I need to put it on my list of ones to get. Been using up a lot of paint that I've had for years. The excuse me about that paper there. The blue that I'll be using is called Lost Lagoon, and you can see that this is old because it was $1.37 when I bought it, and I probably bought it on sale because they used to have sales from time to time at Hobby Lobby and Michael's on the Ceram Coat paints, and they were sometimes 40% off or sometimes even 50% off, and they worked out really well. Now that looks pretty dry, so we should be ready to put the Lost Lagoon paint on there. And then I'll pick off the pick off the butterflies. Okay, so just put that right here. A little bit of it. That's a nice bright blue. I don't want too much of it. Hopefully I've got enough. I just want to get a nice even coat again. And I try to make sure that my brayer doesn't touch the plate without paint. So I try to make sure that there's a coat of paint between the brayer and the plate before when I'm rolling it, because if you roll on dry paint that's on your plate with a dry, semi-dry brayer, then you have the possibility of picking up paint from the plate. And I like nice even coats instead of picking up paint. I don't like picking up paint unless I'm intending to, which I usually do with my paper rather than with my brayer. Jackie Jemerson, who goes by, I think it's called Creations by Jay Sherry, is a really good gel plate printer that does use, it does pick up paint purposefully when she's doing her prints, and she gets some really gorgeous prints. But I haven't really gotten into doing that, except when I'm trying to do my old paint series, which, you know, it looks like some of your paint's been lost or whatever. Okay, and everything's falling over. Give me a second here. I haven't been really good since the COVID started. I've been very lazy about putting everything away in my loft because I didn't need to, because I didn't have anybody coming here to visit me or play in my loft with me. So I've been very lax about putting things away, and as a result I have things everywhere. And so occasionally I knock one of them and it falls over, and then I have to deal with it. Now this butterfly was a red rubber butterfly that you can buy the stamps, rubber stamps like that. I did not make this one, but I did peel it off its back because it was on a wood block, and for two reasons. One is that the wood block that it was on, it wasn't on there very well, and so therefore there was always one place that didn't want to print. So it irritated me, and I peeled it off of there, and it's not that easy to use now. I have to make sure when I'm putting it down on my plate, I have to make sure that I push my fingers all over it so that it gets in, gets a good contact with the plate. And I may have this blue a little bit dry because it seems like my butterfly is trying to lift everything instead of lifting just partial, which is what it did on the other one. There, we got a little bit of partial there. So that might be okay. I'm stamping off onto a piece of paper that I have, I'll show you here, printed, rolled off some gold at some time and some of this blue at some time. And so when I'm stamping off with that, then I'm getting nice colors. And I usually try to keep them away from each other, but I touched that one. That'll be all right. Get good contact there. And let's put this one over here. So what I'm doing when I stamp off, of course, is trying to get any of the excess paint off the rubber stamp so that when I take another image, it will pick up more. But it seems to be just picking up and not letting go of the paint. So it's probably going to stack on this butterfly, and I'll get a little different image than I would if I was doing when I did the other one. But that looks pretty good. Okay. And next, we just kind of try to fill the whole plate with butterfly images. I'm going to be making a book from this, a journal. I've made a couple of them already and sold them. did not put them in my Etsy shop because people wanted them before I got to putting them in my Etsy shop. So that works out for me. I don't mind that. I do like Etsy because of the downloadables that you can do. But as far as journals, if someone wants to buy it before it ever gets created, then that's all right too. I do have, I think, some walkthroughs of some of the journals I've made in my other YouTube things. So if you're interested, you can probably find one of those and take a look at what this will eventually sort of look like. Of course, the other ones were with cogs and things like that because I was into trying to do steampunk things. And this, of course, will not be steampunk. This will be butterflies. If you have questions about anything, you can leave me a comment in the comment section, and I will be happy to get back with you because I do answer all comments. My stamp-off sheet's not looking very pretty, but I'll have to fix that later. I mean, I don't have a problem with changing that to, like, restamping this butterfly on it with actual either ink or with more paint to make my stamp-off sheet look prettier. So I'm not worried about that. But we want this to have a nice array of butterflies. Get a little bit more in this corner, and just so my butterfly itself has a little bit more on it, I get a little bit more from this side. And maybe even from there. I don't have to have it cleaned every time, actually, because it will still pick up even if it's got a little bit of ink on it or paint on it already. Okay, looks like room for maybe a partial one down at the bottom, maybe some tails at the top, and then the left corner, and we'll be done. So we'll put a little bit of a wing right here, put some tails right there, and we'll do a partial here. I think right there. Let's do it this way. Yeah. Looks good. Okay, I usually try to have a little bit of space in between each one. It's just however you like to do it. I mean, it's no biggie. However it looks best to you. Okay, come here, you. And maybe some tails right there. Ta-da, tails. Yay. And that looks like our plate is ready for the next color, and the next color will be the gold to pick it up, and the gold then comes in between the other colors, and I think just looks super. Okay, and here's what my stamp-off sheet looks like. You can see that there are not any completed butterflies, but I think it gives you the illusion of butterflies in flight, whatever. And I think that looks pretty good. So that one might be done. Here's another of my stamp-off ones. I really like the way that butterfly right there came out. It picked up some of the, that was when I was doing the purple one, that one that I showed you at the beginning, and it really came out with a lot of the detail. But my stamp was clean, so I probably need to clean that baby before I do another one. Anyway, let's get with this one and put our gold on there, pick it up, and we'll be finished. Let's just hope it works correctly. Looks good so far. Okay, I'm going to put this up here in this corner. A little bit more than a quarter's worth. It is a 12 by 14 plate, so that's why I have to put more than if it was an 8 by 10. It's not going to take as much. Like, almost has to have twice as much as an 8 by 10 would. If you actually work out the area of this versus the area of an 8 by 10, you know, you can figure it out. If you want to be mathematically, technically correct. You can see how transparent that gold is. You can see the, you know, you can kind of see through it down to the white of the table. The gold is the extreme sheen gold that I really love for picking up a print on the jelly plate. It's by Deco Arts rather than by Ceramcoat Delta. So it just all depends on what you've got, what you like, as to which colors you use. And I may have to take off a little bit more of this. Let me move that guy over there and roll off my brayer so that I'll have a clean brayer, and then the brayer will pick up some of the paint that's on there. So when I roll off on my roll-off sheets, I try to make more than one color at a time on the roll-off sheet, so that it makes it more interesting than just plain stuff. And it did pick up a little bit of the underlying paint there, a tiny bit there. So we will have some splotches that are not butterfly-y. Okay, so we're ready to pick this up. Let me get a sheet of my paper. The paper I'm using is called Finch Fine, F-I-N-C-H-F-I-N-E. And you can get it at Staples, because I looked it up online to find out. When I got mine, I got the 100-pound weight because I was making books from it. And I wanted this paper because it's really nice and bright white and smooth, so smooth that if you're doing calligraphy, it's beautiful paper for that. It's a commercial grade paper. It's not necessarily totally acid-free or any of that kind of stuff. So if you're doing books that you want to last 2,000 years, then you may or may not want to use this. The Finch Fine 100-pound is what I have. I'm sure it would work fine in 80 or 60 or 80 pound, which you can get at Staples. It picks up the paint pretty nicely because it's very smooth. It does not have any texture to it whatsoever. When I bought mine, I bought it in like a whole ream of it, and it is like 30 by 22, so I have to cut it down, and I get two pieces of paper out of each sheet that I have. So I have to cut it down to this size, and then whenever I make my book, of course, I have to cut it down even farther because I usually make the books 8.5 by 5.5. Okay. So that feels like it may have picked up everything. I'm going to peek. Yeah, it's not as pretty as that one because that one is just so subtle. But it has an attraction to it. Look at this. This is rather nice. That's pretty. The red is a little more bold than the purple is on this other one. And the butterflies are definitely more bold because when I was using the butterfly stamp, it picked up more of the paint that was on there. But it looks quite similar, and I think I like both of them. You really can't tell for sure until it has dried, because sometimes when it dries, it will, I don't know, take on other characteristics. That red may not be as bold and distinct from the blue as it appears right now. Anyway, thanks for watching, and you can leave a comment if you'd like. Subscribe, thumbs up, just, you know, whatever. Come back and see me another time. Thank you for watching. Bye.